Hi guys, so today I wanted to talk about rewiring your brain. So I know that we all struggle with different forms of moods and depression and addiction, recovery, whatever we're kind of going through. There's always things we can do to help ourselves. And neuroplasticity is what we're kind of looking at today, and I'm going to break it down into some steps. So rewiring your brain helps with learning new things. It helps with depression. It helps with anxiety. It helps with new life decisions. So coming into recovery, it's a really, really good tool for any kind of situation that might come up, coming out of a relationship, whatever it is that's kind of causing any upset or disrupt in your life. So that's what I wanted to go into today. Anyway, I was having a bit of a creative block, and for probably the last few months, I haven't actually written anything, any proper stories or anything like that. So I wrote one yesterday. It was the first time in a long time that I was actually happy with the story that I had written in the last few months. So, and it was about depression and how we can go through different stages where we don't feel motivated enough to do anything. So that's another reason why I'm doing this today, is because everything I do for you guys helps me too. So it kind of is convenient. All right, guys, so I think I've gone into some of this in a very brief process before. So the 4 steps that we're looking at today to start with are pleasurable experiences. So we're looking at things that you're passionate about, things that make you really happy, exercise, things that promote positive levels of serotonin and reduce stress. And number 2 is healthy relationships. So obviously when you've got someone who's quite toxic in your life, it does drag you down. It does create all of those negative things in your mind. It creates depression, it creates anxiety, it creates heightened levels of stress. None of it is good. None of it's good. So healthy relationships are so positive for giving you the ability and that safety, because our mind does go into a fear complex when it doesn't feel stable, and it will stop you from making positive changes. Well, it will try anyway. You'll have to force through it. So 3, learning new things. I will go into that a little bit further after this. And 4, medication. So those are the 4 initial ways we've got for rewiring your brain. And creating neuroplasticity. So I will explain a little bit about that. Okay, so the plasticity of a brain is more susceptible to taking in new information at a younger age. So people, gymnasts and things like that, you might see them kind of hitting their peak at like 8 or 12 or something like that. And that comes into the fact that when we get a bit older, our dial kind of turns towards not producing very much in the way of new plasticity. So I'll just read what I have here. As we get older, the physiological brakes begin to act as a dial towards less plasticity, and a more difficult time in adapting to change and mastering new skills. So the time frame that they've actually looked at for mastering a skill, a singular skill, so anything that's new or something that you're really looking forward to do, or maybe you want to be an amazing surgeon, whatever it is, it said 10 years or 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. So deliberate practice involves improving your performance, accepting feedback from a mentor, and repeating behaviours. I will go into that further as well. Okie dokie. Before I go into that, I will go into a short list as another 4 ways to rewire your brain. I know you guys like tips, like it to be simple. Okay, so see your automatic response patterns as learned brain strategies. So when you have an automatic thought or automatic response that comes up, instead of actually looking at it as though it's a fact and it's something that you must do, you're in a bad mindset, whatever reason that you'll come up with, you're no good, see it as a learned behavior, like you would, with a child. You talk to your children and you say, look, I know that you feel comfortable kind of behaving in this way now, but we're not doing that anymore. You need to talk to your mind like that as well. We're not doing that anymore, brain. That's a learned strategy that we're going to have to address today. Okay, so number 2. Reframe a behavior as a problem located outside of who you are as a person. So when we think of our problems in our lives and things that pop up, we often address them as ourselves. We think of our problems as ourselves, our thoughts as ourselves. Everything shapes who we are as a person, when in actual fact, that's not completely the case. Our thoughts come up, that doesn't make them fact. For instance, if you have a bit of a shopping addiction, and you always say, I have a shopping addiction, and it really affects me and I'm a bad person. So you're framing that as the person that you are because of the behavior or the action, right? So you might change it to saying something like, I'm not going to do that selfish money grabbing, behavior, or that's such a thief to my life. You might name it in whatever way you would like that makes it separate from you. Yes, you are acting out the shopping addiction, but if you want to change it, it needs to, you guys need to break up. You need to have a conversation with your addiction. You can do a visualization for that or whatever it is, and separate yourself. Okay, so number 3, set clear life visions to refocus your energies on what you consciously prioritize and most value. So it talks about finding out what you really want, what is it, and really focusing on how to get that as well, so setting steps, and prioritizing those steps as well into what's most important and what's going to build essence in your life. 4, take action to express your commitment to this new priority or value. So you're creating new neural patterns with change behavior. So it's quite tough, it's quite difficult, because your old messages are kind of coming in and they keep telling you, no, you're not capable of this. But in actual fact, like I said, then they're false. They're not real thoughts and feelings and stuff like that actually make up who you are right now. They're old messages. So yeah, they're lies told to you by a fixed mindset that feels unsafe when you try to challenge its authority. So think of it like a Cartman complex. Your brain's like, you will respect my authority. and you've got to make some decisions to make some positive steps for yourself. Okay, so this is the last part that I wanted to go into. How to tap into the neuroplasticity to grow your neuroplasticity ability, as an adult. So we want to try and trigger the growth of plasticity, and these are some information about that. Okay, so when change is deemed to be important, adult neuroplasticity will increase. So you'll be given an opportunity to grow new cells and all of that kind of amazing stuff, if the person finds the action rewarding, or if it's crucial for their survival. So those are 3 big things to look at when you're trying to look at, what situation you're in. Are you depressed? Is it anxiety? Is it a life change? Is it a relationship breakdown? Is it new work? Is it no work? What are we going through? Okay, so how can you refire to rewire, right? So you want to refire your brain to rewire your brain. Okay, so the first one is, actually, I'll just go into the steps. Okay, so the steps are reason, engage, feel, imagine, repeat, extend. Okay, so reason, engage, feel, imagine, repeat, extend. You guys will find that if you look up anything that comes to rewiring your brain or neurology, you'll find that as well. So more than happy for you guys to read up more information and inform me. That would be great. Okay, so reason. So reason goes into finding your why. Obviously that's super important. We're going to find our why. We need to understand why we're doing things, what we want out of life, etc. What makes us passionate. Engage. So we've got to absorb ourselves in learning the task. So whatever it is that we want to change, we've got to learn that new thing and get feedback, from someone who knows what they're doing. So get someone who is safe and going to teach you correctly, so if it's therapy or something like that, you want a proper therapist, not just like a friend or someone who knows what they're doing, a professional. So when you're engaging as well, focus on specifically what you're doing. Don't overwhelm yourself and don't engage in too many things at once, because multitasking leads to cognitive burnout. So you end up feeling overwhelmed and you can't really learn the new thing. So the optimum way to learn something new is to not be bored and to not be overwhelmed, right in the middle. Okay, so feel. Feel is about finding the sweet spot between boredom and fear, which is what I was just talking about. So boredom is actually a symptom of an under-arousal. So by doing that, you would be testing yourself with this new thing. So come out of your comfort zone a little bit, but not too much, and make sure it's healthy to do so. Okay, so imagine. Rehearse in your mind's eye. So this is about thinking about your changes and things like that, and visualizing how that will turn out and what will happen if your emotions get out of whack, and going through a process, strategies, and how that amazing, the law of attraction, how that amazing thing is going to look once you've done it. What are you going to get out of life? This is great. Be realistic. Don't be I've got a mansion in my visualization, it's amazing. Maybe if you're saving up for a mansion, well, I guess you could probably do that, but be realistic, because we don't want to be disappointed either. Okay, so repeat. Repeat is a deliberate practice that makes perfect because of neuroplasticity. So there's a little slogan here: neurons that fire together wire together. Neurons that are out of sync fail to link. So you've got the neurons and the dendrites that make up everything that kind of functions in your brain, that promotes neuroplasticity. And when those things are out of sync, you don't really function too well. You get miserable, you get depression, That's why medication creates a pseudo, so a fake connection to those two, and you feel well if you're getting the right medication, that is. So it goes into deliberate practice trumps talent, and genius is not born, instead mastery is made. So sometimes we feel like, we just don't have the skills to do it. Everybody has the skills to do whatever they want in life. It just depends on if it's something that they're truly passionate about, if it's something that they're motivated towards. Have they got other things on their mind? Are they filling up their life with too much? Prioritize what matters, yeah? Okay, so the last one, extend. So change requires pushing yourself to the edge of your comfort zone. So practice at the edge of your capability. Make goals, hit peaks. So you want to try and reach those benchmarks. When I walk to school, I look at how long it takes me and I try and beat it. I go, 3 songs. Okay, now 4 songs. I'll get down to 3. I'll get down to, I haven't really managed to get below 3, but I think I'd probably lose my legs. They'd just fall off. They'd be like, "Nah, I'm sorry, we're packing up. We're going to find a new human. You're being ridiculous." So be realistic about your peaks as well. Don't go too far, because we all have our health capabilities. We all have different mental health conditions, and we need to be mindful that those mental health conditions do create impacts on our ability to function. Like, you know, the Joneses next door may look like they function really well, but at the same time, you don't know what is going on in their mind either, or in their lives. Okay, so that's all I had for today. So just to do a recap, the 4 ways to rewire your brain is to see your automatic responses as learned strategies, to reframe a behavior as a problem located outside of who you are, to set clear life visions on what you prioritize and value, and to take action to express your commitment to the new priority, new value, the thing that means a lot to you, to get out of the old messages and get into the new messages. Okay, and then the other one is, when change is deemed to be important, if it's rewarding, if it's crucial for survival, we will create new neuroplasticity and be able to learn new things and change our lives. How you can refire to rewire: reason, engage, feel, imagine, repeat, extend. And the last one, again, 4 ways to rewire your brain: pleasurable experiences, healthy relationships, learning new things, or medication. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Take care. See you next week. Bye.